Hey, Ed, how's it going today?
It is going so well. Any better, I would just be like explode.
Floating.
I would be floating.
Is Chapel Hill like steamy hot and
Oh
mosquito ridden?
we invented humidity down in the South.
Yeah.
So like what you guys are experiencing, we laugh at that stuff.
Well, it's varying degrees of. So San
Of
Diego,
course.
we've been very, very warm. I actually got in the pool last night and it felt like the jacuzzi.
Oh my gosh! And I say
I
that
know.
tongue in cheek. Everything's relative, right? Including
Right.
the humidity. So
Right. So anyway, I'm excited to do this podcast. I know it's a little bit out of the realm of real estate, but we talk a lot about living a balanced life. And so this is why I think this is so important. And if you haven't listened to the podcast on flow state, which is the one before this, please do, because we feel that those two go together very, very well.
they
Marry
sure
these two.
they sure do, and it's kind of a little summer series, right, on how to get some of this
Right.
balance in. So
That's right.
flow and meditation are literally kind of the yin and yang on a healthy brain and mind, or healthy brain
Yeah.
and body. So you take it away.
Okay, so we're going to talk about meditation today, and I have been meditating for a very long time. I get in and out of the flow of meditation, but at this point, I am deep, deep, deep in the flow of it and really, really, really feeling the benefits of that. And I think that a lot of times, we don't even know we're meditating and we are meditating. So I want to go through that, because it doesn't have to be you sitting cross-legged with your fingers together and oming, right? It can be many things. And you have a great example of meditation from your bike ride
Yeah,
that I
we're-
think would be really good to share, if you don't mind, before we kick this off, because this will let people see that they do go in and out of meditation quite a bit.
Absolutely. Do you want me to lead on that right
Yeah.
now?
Do you
To
mind?
I don't mind at all.
Tell it.
All right. Yeah, me telling a story, that's a problem. So on this bike trip that I just came back from, again, this was the bike packing from Banff to Missoula. On the 4th of July, we had a very, very challenging day. We had about a 14-mile climb to start the day. That was primarily paved. Half of that paved, and then it switched to double track, which is a little easier to navigate, and then single track up. Went through a mountain pass, came down the other side, and then hot day, and then we had a 12-mile loose gravel climb to our final camping destination.
That's a lot of mileage.
A lot of mileage, a lot of elevation, a big challenge. And so when we hit the base of that last climb, we were all pretty spent, the four of us on the trip. And I said to myself, hey, this is a good opportunity to meditate. I'm on gravel. I want to just focus only on my breathing. That's it. I'm not going to and we'll talk about the monkey mind. I'm not going to worry about when are we going to get there, or how much longer is this going to be on this grade? Why are the mosquitoes starting to circle us? All the kind, I'm hungry, I'm bonking. I'm like taking all of that out. All I'm going to do is focus on my breathing.
Yes.
And that's what I did. And I was not the strongest rider on this trip. I would say I was probably number 4. But on that day, I had the strongest mind, and I rode away from everybody else.
Isn't that
Because
amazing?
it was amazing. And I truly hit a meditative state because I was in this activity, and I forced my brain to only focus on my breathing. And I ignored all the chatter. And that's
love
what you
that.
get when you meditate.
Yes, it's the same thing. So this is, a lot of people try to put meditation into a box. This is what it looks like. This is how you do it. And there's walking meditation. There's riding your bike meditation. There's, sit in lotus meditation. I want people to feel excited about trying their own version of meditation. So, the very first thing I'd love to talk about is starting small, because that is not my MO. I'm like, I'm going to meditate. I'm going to meditate for an hour.
Yeah. That's Jefi. Hey,
Yeah.
I bought a car. I'm going to drive across country tomorrow.
Yes,
Like,
I know.
all the way.
Oh, I need a tent for my trip. Let's get a 12-man tent. Who's sleeping in there? Me. Why do I need a 12-man tent?
Right.
Okay, but anyway, that's beside the point. But I just want to give you guys an example of how my brain works so that you can take it and start small. So let's say that you're out of practice of meditation. Let's say you've never done meditation. Start with 5 minutes or less. I mean, even a minute gives you a benefit. I find that in anything past 15 minutes really gets you into this groove, into what I would call a flow state. I know that that's not exactly the definition of what we just talked about in our other podcast, but that's where you relax the mind so much that you start to have these beautiful thoughts come in. I would say that there's a saying that says, people that say they don't have time to meditate should meditate twice as long.
That's right.
Yes.
Yep.
And that's true because we all do have that time. And if you don't have time, you need to make time.
Right.
For that quiet space.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, again, I tend to look at the big picture a little bit. So I just want to interject this because you mentioned flow.
Yeah.
Part of my preparation on this, it talks about meditation, or you achieve relaxation when the skill is high, but the task is relatively easy. So
right.
This is what we're finding here with meditation, which is, hey, sitting, breathing, just doing this should be pretty simple, but it takes a lot of skill to do that, to really quiet the mind.
That's a great point. I appreciate you bringing that up. That is true. It does take a lot of skill, and we're going to talk about that in a second. I would say start with one time a day when you're first starting out, and the morning is a really great time. I usually get up, start my water for my tea or coffee, and then go and meditate. And so that's kind of my process because it allows this beautiful wake state where nothing else has come in. You haven't looked at your phone. You haven't done anything. You haven't had any chats with anybody. You're literally in this beautiful Zen space that allows your brain this opportunity.
Yeah. And there's no other distraction in the morning, right? You can always get up earlier if you have to.
Yeah, exactly. Which I don't know why lately, but my brain just opens at 5:30. I'm all, what, are you really ready for business? Because I love to sleep. Anyway, 5:30 has been my time. Having a focus is really good. And you can focus on breathing, which I think is really great when you're first starting out, is you basically box breathe, where you breathe in for X amount of time, hold for X amount of time, out for X amount of time, hold for X, and you just go in a box, because what happens is your brain is now focusing on that rhythm,
right,
which helps keep things out. It's a great place to start. And you don't even have to box breathe. You could just go breathe in 3, breathe out 3, breathe in 5, breathe out. Everybody has their own rhythm.
Yeah. It's interesting on this climb where I did it, I had a in, out rhythm.
Yeah.
And that's all I was focusing on was just that. And I asked the guys afterward, I'm like, hey, did you all notice what I was doing? They're like, oh yeah, we noticed. Cause I was just like that pattern all the way through, but it helped that. Then I wasn't thinking. I was just focused on that.
You were in your moment.
Right.
Yeah. You can actually set an intention, like I am going to meditate on work. Maybe you have a big project coming up. Maybe you have love you want to think about, or travel, or implementing new ideas. And all of those things, when you're meditating, it's not a list going through your brain of those things. It's just the intention of maybe having some clarity on those things. So the brain is wide open to receive ideas that are around those things, which is really beautiful.
That's cool. Now, how do you handle when that idea comes in? What do you do there?
So what I normally do is I acknowledge it, and then I just let it flow, because in meditation, you usually don't have full thought processes It's really just kind of words that come in, or just like a quick thought that comes in. I'm not this advanced in meditation, maybe you instantly will be, I don't know, but you can have a little journal next to you where things come in and you just literally write them down. But it's hard for me to pull out, write, and then come back.
Yeah,
so I normally just stay there.
Yeah, that would be really, really difficult.
It is difficult. And you just need to trust that whatever comes through for you, if it's meant to stick, you're going to remember it at the end.
So let me ask you a question here. So okay. You're doing this, and then your mind starts to distract a little bit. Right?
Sure.
How do you pull back? How do you pull back to center? What do you do?
I say, in my head, I literally say, I see you. I see what you're saying. Thank you. And I watch it float down the river like a twig.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I have a whole... Yeah, and it works really well for me. There's another way to do it. You can imagine floating on a cloud, and each time an idea comes, you just kind of take your finger and slice the cloud, and that idea or that thought just kind of floats away in the wind. There's so many different ways, but to fight the acknowledgement that there's something there is worse than acknowledging it.
Right. Just acknowledge it and then let it drift away.
I see you. I see that thought. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Bye-bye,
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really neat. And look, your first year of meditation might be completely just managing your brain.
Right.
And that's fine too. A lot of people get hung up on right, wrong, where do I sit? How do I do this? What if I get interrupted? Blah, blah. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Yeah. But
that's pretty awesome. And so again, you've been on this most recent journey with it. It's been about how long?
I really got ramped up about 30 days ago.
Okay.
Before that, I was meditating probably once or twice a week. Consistently, sometimes I would go through weeks where I was doing way more. I have a natural tendency to, when I first wake up, to be in a completely meditative state of gratitude for about 5 minutes. So I just lay in bed and I think of everything I'm grateful for. And that's a daily practice for me. But a physical intention of practice has been in and out for me for years. And recently, these last 30 days, really being in it.
Because I know you've been super, super focused.
Very focused on just getting into these spaces of, we were at, I'm just going to switch thoughts here. We were at a Buffini event, and I really want to give credit where credit is due, but someone said there is a saying that you're waiting for your soul to catch up. Mm-hmm. And that saying just rung with me and has been with me. I can't remember if it was Peak or if it was Teams or what it was. But I get that on a level that's crazy. And our jobs are constantly pushing us. So you're getting a phone call, you're trying to negotiate offers, you're going to a listing appointment, your client has an issue with how their name was spelled on their deed, you've got a road issue, so your brain is being pulled in all these different spokes of the wheel, right?
Yeah.
And to get into the hub and allow everything to catch up is a pivotal thing that you can do that will change your life and your business.
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely. Well, let me ask you this. So for people getting started, where do you fall on like guided versus unguided meditation? Okay,
great question. And this is, I talked to Joe about meditating. Joe meditates, and I love that he's been meditating for years. His biggest thing that he shared with me is just keeping the brain focused. Mm-hmm. And I feel that if you do a guided meditation, it is much easier to get started because your brain might drift, but then all of a sudden you're going to hear a prompt.
Right.
Your brain might drift and then you hear a prompt. So it's this training. It's a muscle. You're building a muscle through meditation. And the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Yeah. And maybe an analogy there is like if you wanted to all of a sudden, get fit and you go to the gym and you're looking at all that equipment and you don't know how to use it, you can get overwhelmed pretty quickly versus having somebody guide you through on what to do.
Right.
Now, I know when I got started with it, I embraced Headspace, which was an app, which I really liked. I know you've used some things too in your early days.
I use Insight Timer. And the reason I use it is there's a free version and there's a paid version. And if you listen to a meditation and you want to donate to the person who did the meditation, if you're in the free version, you can. You can even send them $1. It doesn't matter. It's whatever's on your heart to do. But I love Insight Timer, number one, because you don't have to pay for it. And number two is that there are thousands of meditations in there.
Right.
Every style you can imagine, every length you can imagine. And one of the things I was going to say about the meditation practice is there's something called a writing meditation. And I use Insight Timers. I set a timer with some type of music. So I put in my headphones and I just tune the world out, and the type of writing meditation that I do is completely pen on the paper. You never stop writing. So I do 10 minutes. You can start with 2. It doesn't matter. And if you don't know what to say, you write, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. You just never lift that pen from the paper. It's not a coffee sipping event. It's not a tea sipping event. It's not a distraction. Like, you literally are writing.
And you just write what's coming through your mind. Not even thinking about it. I've never done that.
Don't even think about it. And the beauty of that is that when I am done, I go through and circle things that speak to me. Oh, I didn't think about doing that. I've had some of the best ideas for marketing. I've had some of the best ideas for listing presentations and for client events. And for my garden, for my life, for my kitchen, for cooking. I mean, you name it. These things just that are brewing in you that you haven't let your soul catch up.
Wow.
Just come flowing out. And it is a beautiful way of meditating.
It's so cool. So you've obviously been working on this for years. You've done a really intense deep dive for the last 30 days. What benefits are you seeing now? What's happening?
So I'm finding that it's just getting my brain to slow down a bit. And for someone who's as rapid as I am, that is a gift for me. As a matter of fact,
keep doing it, Jefi.
I know, right? So the last 30 days or whatever, I've been meditating 3 times a day. Really, I've been meditating breakfast, lunch, dinner, so morning, noon, and night. And they're short. Some of them are short. Some of them are long, or whatever. But I came walking out of my little meditation space the other day, and I was sitting there, and I was drinking a cup of tea, and Cody, my husband, looks at me. He's all, "You look like a hippie." And I'm all, "Is that a good thing or a bad thing?" He's all, "Are you going to go see clients? Because if you are, you might want to get changed." Yeah, it's good. It also, benefits are, it allows your brain to also process things. So let's say you're having a really difficult time in your job or a relationship or with your kids or your friend, whatever, a difficult time. It allows you to separate yourself from that moment in time and get 100-foot view of what's going on. And isn't that, that's why I ask my friends, hey, I have this situation at work, because their view is so much further out. Right. That they can see the big picture, where if you're just entrenched in something, you don't have that ability, and meditation gives you that ability.
Very, very cool.
Yeah. Very cool. And I feel that it has given me more energy. Just my brain isn't as exhausted as it normally is. Sometimes I come out and I feel a little floaty, like, oh my God, I need to
you get that vertigo myself. Like we were talking about in the previous episode.
Yes,
very interesting.
Yes. But the benefits will be different for everybody too, Ed. That's just like what is good for me would be good, better, different for you would be different for Cody or Lynn or the kids or whatever. Everybody has a different result or benefit, I would say.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, now you're also doing journaling on top of this. Is that correct?
Yes. Okay. So I'm a big journaler. I
know you
journal
are.
a lot.
That's
Yeah, I
awesome.
journal a lot. And the writing meditation is not journaling. That's just a flow state of meditation. But I have something funny to share. So I was in one of those morning kind of gratitude meditations, and I went into this really deep meditation. This is months ago. And this is all I remember of this meditation. I was hearing there's only 5 things, Jefi. If you master these 5 things, life is going to be really easy for you. And it went through the 5 things, and I'm like, I should be writing this down. I shouldn't trust myself to remember these things. And it's just like the meditative state's going, no, you'll totally remember. You're good.
No.
I'm going through these things or whatever. And then I come out of this meditative state, and I'm like, holy shit, what were the 5 things?
What were the 5 things? I had the answer.
I had life's answer.
I didn't write it down.
Right. But people have journals next to their bed for dreams that they have, or the first thing on their brain when they wake up. And those are great. And again, whatever you remember in your meditation is what you're meant to remember. So,
Very cool.
also in wrapping up the meditation piece, the ideas that come out can be building blocks for things. And that's kind of what I was talking about with the writing meditation is you might key into keywords from that writing meditation that take you into an entirely different thing. Like you could be in a place in your career where you need to hire somebody, and there's something in there that goes, oh, I never even thought about talking to that person. Or I didn't know I could call Ed and say, hey, how's this assistant that you have that's working? Or, you just, there's little boop, 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 boop things that come up that you don't normally think of.
Yeah,
So.
because you're literally relaxing your mind and allowing that to happen. And
Yes.
I think what's interesting about this is that our society, because of all the things that we get pinged with and hit with, it breaks the meditative process, the relaxation. It also, in the previous episode, it breaks flow. There's things just like always coming out, taking away from this relaxation or intense concentration. I know, I've been meditating in the morning, trying to catch up.
Good.
And I laugh because I need to turn off my prompts because I'll use a thing and then I'm just like, ding, and it's a client getting, it's like reading the text. I'm like, I don't think it's part of my meditation ritual right now. Hey,
that's okay. You know what? You started it, you're trying it, and that's all right. But yes, silencing your phone is probably a good deal.
Yeah. So I think that's really good.
Yeah.
If you could give us on this 30-day journal or journey, and maybe as a wrap up on this, is there one just key benefit that's just jumping out that you're seeing right now?
Well, I think it's really comes back to the rapid nature that I have that sometimes is a little overwhelming to the people in my life because I can jump through ideas and work and everything. I do my work probably in 4 hours. That takes people mostly 8 because I'm so laser focused. But that's intense to people, and that's hard for people to be around. I acknowledge that. I know that. But I would say that what it's done is it's allowed me to have that 100-foot view of what it's like to be around me sometimes and be much more in tune with the people around me as well as being in tune with myself. And it just makes me feel so good.
Well, and I was going to argue that it's not just good for the people around you, but it's really, really good for you too, because it is intense and you need that mental break so that you can give more. Otherwise you just burn out. Right. So, So kudos for you for taking that
Thank
time and
you.
being so
Thank you.
disciplined to do it. And I would encourage everyone to check the links for the ways to get started in this. And as Jefi said, start small. Don't do a half an hour right out of the box.
No.
Do 10 minutes, do 5 minutes.
5 minutes even.
5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just go for a small thing and give it a shot and set a goal to do it, and you'll see the benefits come flowing down the line.
Hey, thanks for doing this one with me, Ed. It means a lot.
It's spectacular, and I learned a lot on it, and I can't wait to continue my journey. Take care.
Bye, everyone.